and good evening. I'm Melissa Idris.
And I'm Sharad Kuttan.
Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. In the preliminary results of PKR's leadership elections are in. This is for the 2022 to 2025 term, and they point to significant changes within the party. Most telling is Rafizi Ramli's victory over Saifuddin Nasution for the position of Deputy President. Now, will this result and others mean a new direction for a party that has been split by defections and deep divisions? Our first guest tonight is MP for Setiawangsa Nik Nazmi, Nik Ahmad. He is one of the 4 incoming vice presidents for PKR. Nazmi, first off, congratulations to you. But to kick off our conversation tonight, I'd like to take a look at the voter turnout, the low voter turnout. I mean, PKR has more than 1 million members, but only, I think, less than 13%, that's 13%, turned out to vote in the party elections. Now, what does this low turnout reflect to you?
Hi, thanks, Melissa and Sharad. Obviously, it's something that we have to work on, and we do have to find a way to ensure that we can get a better turnout, so that the 1 million membership that we have is truly meaningful. That's something that we have to reflect on. But at the same time, you also have to realize that unlike other parties, KEADILAN is the only major national party in Malaysia that has, one, it's quite easy to become a member, and secondly, we implement one member, one vote policy for selecting national leaders, the main national leaders. So as a result, it's an enormous process, and this is the first time that we're doing it in a hybrid way, where people who could register on the app and vote using the app, or to do it physically. So it was a new system, and it was, as you rightly said, it came from the back of a few by-election defeats. But generally, we are talking about something that is the closest thing that we have in Malaysia to a primary that you see in the US, and it's about making it easy for people to participate in the system, and having one member, one vote, and all that. And obviously, through that process, with such a large number eligible, you won't have everyone participating.
Nazmi, is there a downtrend in terms of a membership involvement, or is this an anomaly?
If I'm not mistaken, I have to relook at the numbers, but from the first glance, in terms of absolute numbers, there has been an increase. But previously, I think our membership was about 800,000 in 2018. So percentage-wise, we did have a higher number in 2018 compared to 2022. Obviously, the mood is a bit different. 2018 was, just after our historic victory. People were very excited. People also, there were those who came in for various motives and reasons. The fact that we were part of the federal government, so on and so forth, and probably providing the next prime minister at that time. So that mood was certainly different than it was today. Today it was more of the party faithful, those who probably were more, the diehards of the party, and that reflected in the lower percentage.
Right. Nazmi, if I could just sort of follow up on that, there's some disputes, especially from losers, unsurprisingly. But there's, along with it, a certain rancor. There's a tone that's taken by some senior members of the party, attacking the party, its mechanism. And I wonder about the optics of this, because it plays out for us who are not party members, who just watch from outside, something of the same bitter, fractious nature of PKR, the factionalism that led to the Sheraton move, and so on and so forth. What do you make of party members seeming to care nothing for the public display of rancor over these elections?
Well, first, I agree. I think that we have to bear in mind that the public is watching, and obviously our focus should be on the general elections. But having said that, what we have to realize is that one is that this is the first time that we're doing.
No other party is doing that, and hopefully, once people really get used to this, we can increase turnout and all those things. But secondly, in the history of Keadilan elections, this is quite mild. We saw 2010, it was Zaid Ibrahim versus Azmin, right? That 2014, Tan Sri Khalid, Saifuddin, and Azmin, where we saw Tan Sri Khalid being sacked. And then 2018, Azmin shooting Rafizi, but ironically this time it was the victor, Azmin, who eventually got left party. So I don't, immediately, even before the results were sort of clear, Saifuddin came out with a concession, a statement conceding defeat and congratulating Rafizi, Lee Kang and myself, and he sent a personal message as well to me at that time. And Rafizi responded the next day as well, saying that people were trying to talk up of crisis between him and Saifuddin, though both of them were involved in Pemuda Keadilan in 1999. So he said, they didn't know them enough, because they've gone through thick and thin. Right. So, so what I'm saying is that this is quite mild, relatively. And finally, that, everyone keeps talking about parties need to have democracy and all that. So this part and parcel of it. And if you look at the primaries in the UPS and party elections in the UK, it's something similar. It's just rare in Malaysia.
Okay. All right. Well, then can I ask you, if we were to focus on Rafizi's win, some commentators have pointed out that this could be seen as a referendum on Anwar, that those who voted for Rafizi was in fact voting against Anwar's leadership of Anwar's record of leadership of the party.
Okay. Well, I think it's clear that no one challenged Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim for the presidency. I think that's very clear. The challenge, the contest was at deputy presidency level.
And I don't see it as a vote against Anwar, it's a vote for Rafizi. Obviously, they have their different approaches, it's the different generation. But I think, it's something that eventually is very positive because I keep telling people, when I go on Grab, people know that I'm from Keadilan and they will ask when is Rafizi and Izzah going to make a comeback. So there's a lot of hope, not just among Keadilan voters or members, but also among the public at large for Rafizi to make a comeback. So I think this is something that's positive and it will actually strengthen the party going into the elections.
Okay, so when you say that it might strengthen the party, can I ask you what reforms or changes do you expect Rafizi to bring to PKR as Deputy President?
One is generational perspective. Keadilan has always, put a lot of prominence to young leaders. Rafizi was Vice President, Strategic Director, people like myself, we've been given prominent roles, Nurul Izzah, so on and so forth. This time around, Rafizi, he's the Deputy President, the next in line, and he is 44 years old. The Vice Presidents, I'm 40, Lee Kang, also in Rafizi's sort of faction or camp, he is 42, and you have the MB of Selangor who did not contest in Rafizi's faction, but he won. And he's only 42 as well. So, it's a very, very young lineup. So I think the approach should be different. And I think it will show that we are ready to go to the next level, that Keadilan is, at the end of the day, we should celebrate that we are Malaysia's most successful multiracial national party. And we should go back to our values to strengthen the party and Pakatan Harapan and win on that, rather than through any other approaches.
Yeah, well, Nazmi, there's also a question of strategy. Values, great. Strategies, the other thing which you express those values. Rafizi, because correct me if I'm wrong, is the author of the failed Kajang move. So his, his record as a strategist, some might dispute. But beyond that, observers have been talking about the big tent debate and whether that took center stage. So not just the personalities, but the idea that Rafizi came very strongly against the big tent theory and strategy, and we had him on our show as well talking about it. Do you think the big tent weighed heavily on the minds of members when they voted?
Yeah, I mean, just before going to the Big Ten itself, I think while, we can talk about the Kajang move as well, but we must not forget also 2018 elections where Rafizi and Invoke played a huge role in winning 42 out of 44 marginal seats, which contributed to the victory. Going to the Big Ten debate, I think that was, really the focus. Because we saw that there were talks of this Big Ten approach, since the Johor state elections, and I think the members and Rafizi declared it from the beginning that this party election is a referendum on that, and the fact that he won with such a big margin. It's not just about Rafizi the person, but it's also about rejecting that approach. And I think because I think at the end of the day, KEADILAN, a lot of the people have gone through so many things, throughout this 23 years since Reformasi. So they are looking at something that they can really value and also win by remaining true to our values. And it's not something impossible because, we believe that there is that majority who wants something different.
Okay, Rafizi, Nazmi, in the last minute or so that we have left, can I ask you, I mean, you as one of the 4 incoming vice presidents, how are you going to heal the deep division within the party, the divisions of the factionisms within the party? Talk about unity, but what will you do to make this happen?
I mean, definitely Rafizi's camp won many positions, important positions in the party, but it was not a total sweep. We have Amiruddin among the vice presidents. We have Adam Adli for the Angkatan Muda. So I think that the fact that it's a mixed thing generally means that that creates a starting point for unity. And again, I think that this is much milder. This really is a contest among comrades as opposed to fighting Azmin in the past. So if the fact that we accept that the members voted for against the Big Ten strategy, and if people are willing to accept that, no matter which team they supported in the party elections, then I think we can unite and have a successful elections in GE15.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Nik Nazmi, incoming Vice President for PKR. We're going to take a quick break here and consider this. We will be back with more. Stay tuned.